Well, hold on a second. Am I talking to you here, or should I be talking just to you? Okay, great. I'm Jane Calvin. I'm the Executive Director of the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust is?
Sure. We are a private nonprofit in the city of Lowell, and we're interested in improving the quality of life for the people of Lowell through education and through the creation, conservation, and preservation of parks, open spaces, and special places. So that's our mission, but what we really like to say is that we help create community through conservation. And our programs range from land protection to fish monitoring. We have a lot of after-school environmental education programs. We even own the Spalding House. So we do a little bit of historic preservation. And we're also very interested in trail connectivity and closing the gaps in our regional trail networks. We do quite a bit also with community science, and that includes our work on the threatened Blandings turtles and anadromous fish monitoring and fish going up the Concord River through a fish ladder.
How do you do that?
How do we monitor them?
Yeah.
People like you come out and help us count. So it's a great volunteer opportunity, and we literally count the number of fish that are moving up the fish ladder, and then there's also video monitoring that's happening at the same time.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It is really cool. Yeah, you should come out and join us.
I would love to. What other ways do you have for people to get involved in that?
There's a variety of different opportunities for anyone in the community to join us as a volunteer. Of course, there's always things that happen in the office, like mailings and general office work. But then if you're interested in exploring any of our properties, we need land stewards that go out and walk our properties once a week, once a month, and report back to us because we can't have our eyes and ears everywhere all at the same time. So there are several properties throughout the city that we monitor. We have people that come in twice a day and help feed the threatened turtles that we have in the office. When we get them, they start as the size of a quarter, and then they grow to be about this big. That's a really fun opportunity by people that love working with the turtles. And then there's the fish monitoring program. Also, any group that wants to come help us, we have lots of UMass Lowell groups that volunteer with us, or corporate groups that will help us with park cleanups. All of our programs really try and connect people to the natural resources in the city. We're really fortunate. While it's an urban environment, there are still 2 rivers, a large state forest, quite a bit of conservation land, a lot of opportunities for people to engage in the outdoors, improve their health, connect with other people, and just enjoy nature. So whether it's turtles or fish or creating trails, we just want to do whatever helps connect you to the natural resources around you.
That's great. What are some of the projects that you're currently working on?
So like long-term projects, yeah. We have several different long-term projects. One that we're probably most well known for is working on the Concord River Greenway, which we started working on in the late 90s. And that's a trail that follows the Concord River through the entire length of the city. That's a multi-use recreational trail and includes public art, multilingual signage, an outdoor classroom. We're doing that very much in partnership with the city. In fact, it is a city park, and we see ourselves as the catalyst helping and bring in extra funding for those sort of value-added pieces like the multilingual signage and public art and such. So that's one project we've kind of kept on the radar for a long time, and every few years a new section gets built, which is really cool. Exciting. Most recently, there were 2 new bridges added on the Concord River, which are really beautiful to go and watch whitewater rafting at. Another big project that we're working on is in partnership with Mass Audubon and Mill City Grows, and that's to protect the Perron Farm, which is the last family farm in Lowell. It's far out on Varnum Ave, close to the border with Tingsboro. It's 20 acres. We've been working on it for, about 5 years now, but it's been on the radar for several decades because we've known that this land would come up for sale eventually, and we want to make sure that it's protected for public use in perpetuity, meaning like your grandkids can be able to enjoy this land.
So how are you protecting it?
We're going to buy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the 3 partners are joining together to buy it, and then we'll be creating an education center, and Mill City Grows will have an urban agricultural center and a permanent farm stand. All I could think of was farmers market, because we talked about that before. And so Mill City Grows will have a permanent farm stand as well.
Is that going to be on the property too, to like draw people in? And that's a really great place to like build that community too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's great that you work with Mass Audubon too. I love those trails. Like we go on this, they're all the way out by my place.
Our after school program is also run in partnership with Mass Audubon.
What major strides would you say that you've made up to this point?
You could look throughout the city and see our work everywhere you go, whether it's the Edward Street soccer fields that we help protect, the increase in canopy and the thousands of trees that we've planted, the youth that have been a part of our after-school environmental education program and are now on staff, or have gone out and developed their own careers and passions in the environmental fields. The trail connectivity is a big piece of the imprint that we've had on the city of Lowell. And then even the protection of someplace like the Spalding House, which was, we protected in the mid-90s, and nobody was interested in protecting it. And so we jumped on that and were able to make sure that that's around for generations.
Do you have a favorite trail?
Outside of Lowell?
Either.
I do, of course, love the Concord River Greenway and the new bridges on the Greenway. I definitely think that's probably one of my favorite trails. Lately, I've been really enjoying exploring the state forest trails. I think they're kind of underappreciated. We're so fortunate to have that large state forest nearby. But I also get out and enjoy the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, and I even go to East Boston Camps in Westford. I used to be a big mountain hiker, so.
Aside from more regular meetings, what events does the Trust run?
We run a variety of events, everything from our bird watching to maple sugaring, wildlife tracking. We have a book reading coming up. We're doing a webinar on women in science. And then, of course, we do a variety of programs that get people engaged in the volunteer opportunities. So we'll do a training for fish monitoring, and then things like the corporate cleanups and stuff. So there's a whole slew of different events that we host. Oh, I didn't even mention this. We also have the film series. So we host a monthly film series, January through June, right at the National Park. And our film I don't know, you probably won't have this, but we have a whole series of films. You can capture whatever you want off of our website for, like, say, if this is going to come out just before the April film. I imagine our film in March is a week from tomorrow, so I imagine you won't have this done by then. Yeah. But we do host an eco-film series, and we've been doing it for 11 years.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. I know that you mentioned that you have some after-school programs. How do you go about educating people on the environment outside of that scope?
Like outside the after-school program?
Yeah. How do you reach like the greater Lowell community?
Well, through a variety of different means. I want people to get their hands dirty, so they can come and volunteer with us at however they're comfortable, whether it's maybe they're really into photography like you are, or maybe they just want to pick up trash at a certain park, or they want to document the wildlife. I want volunteers to come and do what they enjoy doing. And then we do offer a variety of different events to engage people. I like to think of it sort of on a spectrum where it might be sort of very introductory kind of knowledge to something as specific as how to make your investments environmentally friendly. So everything in between there, whatever I can do to engage you in the environment is what the Trust is about. Just
to backtrack a little bit about the history of this trust. How long has this been in place for, and do you know how it started?
I do. The trust was founded in 1990. I came on board in 1995, and as just an intern. And it was originally founded by folks that wanted to protect land in their own backyard. And the city at the time had no one that could protect conservation land. There was no organization like ours at the time. So that's why we decided to become a land trust. And then we expanded to tree planting and historic preservation and on and on.
It must be great to be in that program so long and see it grow over all those years.
Yeah, it's been really rewarding. It's always challenging, never boring, always interesting.
Every day is different.
Yeah, every day is really different. Mm-hmm.
How did you personally get involved in it? I know you mentioned that you started as an intern, but can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. I had been, I was fresh out of graduate school. I had my master's degree, and I spent some time traveling overseas. And then I came back, and a friend knew a friend, and they said they're looking for an intern to run an urban forestry program for the city of Lowell for 4 months. And so I had just come back from overseas. The economy wasn't that great at the time. And I interviewed, and I thought, for sure, I'll take, a 4-month internship in Lowell, and then I'm going to like Montana. And here I am. I'm still here because you just really learn to fall in love with the community of Lowell.
I love that. I feel like I'm having a similar experience right now, like coming from Boston. I always say, I'm going to go back there. And then Lowell is definitely growing on me.
Doesn't it suck you in?
It does. Like, you first get here, you're like, I don't really know where to go. But then you just start noticing all these little glimmers everywhere.
Yeah.
It makes you want to stay.
Yeah, that's great.
How would you like to see the trust grow and change?
I think our biggest opportunity for growth is the acquisition of the Perron Farm. That will really help propel us in terms of just visibility, expanding staff, and operations. So that's certainly the place that I'd like to see us grow the most in the near future. And I think, of course, we'd always love to have more people know about us and get involved.
Yeah, it sounds like that you do a lot and you're really far-reaching. I'm like surprised I hadn't heard of it before.
Yeah.
I kind of just started Googling to see what would come up. How does the environmental well-being of Lowell impact the people here and the surrounding areas too?
Well, we like to definitely focus on the positive. So we could certainly talk about, the negatives and like everything from water quality to contamination and trash and things like that. But the trust really tends to focus on the positive and what the benefits of the environment around us and how to improve it. And, sort of our philosophy is whatever I can do to engage you in the environment, I think it helps improve your quality of life. And if we can help improve your quality of life by helping you discover a new natural area or conservation property that you've never been to or a section of the river you've never seen, that helps you want to stay here and help build the community here.
I like that. I like that positive view. I think that's a good way to get people motivated to help too, because if they see what's here and what's beautiful, they're going to want to participate and be engaged in that.
Right. I love those aha moments when we're out on, say, a bird walk or a greenway walk, and people are like, I never knew this was here, and it was right around the corner from my house all these years.
Yeah, absolutely.